First off, the EFL Trophy draw, Accrington, Stanley, just glad to get a home game, I guess, when it's a draw like that.
100%, just delighted to be at home, and so really pleased because we've got a home draw.
And the fact that you're at the quarter-final stage now, we've seen already the money that's come into the football club, it makes the games even bigger, doesn't it? Not just because of the stage they're at, but the finances as well.
But they're all big to me. They're all as big as each other to me. I have a different role and title to other people at the club, so I would understand why certain stages might be bigger to them than it is to me, but every game's a big game for me.
Ben House, how is he?
Honestly, I don't know. He didn't train today, but that was a precaution, so we will know more in the morning. He's a bit sore today, but he's not been ruled out for sure.
And that's a huge relief, isn't it? Because when you see a player stretch it off, you're always fearing the worst.
Yeah, I was very concerned first and foremost for Ben as a person, and I thought he was in trouble. So I was relieved post game when I went in to see him that he hadn't. It was a quick. He hadn't twisted his knee or anything like that. So he's had a brilliant season. He's an outstanding kid. Availability to train and play has been really impressive this year as well, so we want that to continue for him.
And I guess for his mentality as well, because when you come off and you are stretched off or come off with an injury, I suppose as a player you fear the worst, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And also when you look at his age and where he's like last year he was playing in the National League, then this year, you know, he scored some big goals because he got the winner away to Ipswich. He scored important goals for us. Bristol Rovers away, an outstanding game. So Derby at home he scored. So he's had a huge impact in the games. And he's when I came into the club and seen him, he was somebody that caught my attention straight away. But I'm sure I could be wrong, but I don't think I'd be surprised if he thought this year has gone as well as quickly as it has. So now that he's got that and he deserves that and he earns that, and it's not through say a lucky run of form or a rich vein, that's what you're seeing as Ben, that's his ability, that's his quality, so he won't want to give that position up, especially with the club captain breathing down his neck.
Certainly. Ted Bishop, we're not seeing much of him lately. What's happening there?
Teddy's available for the weekend, yeah.
That's positive news. Jacob Davenport contract coming up soon. What's the situation with him at the moment?
He's done well for us, been really unlucky. Was very unfortunate with a few injuries through no fault of his own, so his availability has probably not hampered him in terms of getting a new contract or anything like that, but he's not been available for us and for himself to give himself an opportunity to get some minutes, but it's been a pleasure to work with him. We're really pleased with him. And
is it difficult when it comes to that situation of whether it's now or the end of the season, players who through no fault of their own have been missing and maybe not been available as much as you would have liked?
Yeah, certainly for the player, but it's not what I would judge people on. Like availability is a big one for me. There's no point in having players at the club who are never available, so that is a big one. But I think with Jacob, I would never judge him on a short period of time. I think with stuff like that, you look at people's histories, and if you're looking at a player who's 25 and he's played 50 games, well then he's not going to be for me. But Jacob's been in a short time, thankfully I know him as well, so I've seen him walk at length for a number of years, and he's a pleasure to have around the place for sure.
We talked at the start of the World Cup and you said you're interested to see if there's been any trends or anything. What have you noticed from the World Cup? Is there anything that stood out for you that you see football developing into over the next kind of 12-18 months?
Yes, I've learned that my 3 kids have not allowed me to watch 1 minute of it, so that's been a disappointment for me, but it's meant I've got to spend some time with my kids, so I'll take that.
You've got to convince them for the Euros, you've got a couple of years to work on that.
I've got a little bit to do on it, yeah. I seem to be playing with Brio when the big games are on. So for those who don't know anything about Brio, it's Lego.
Are you any good?
Train tracks. Yeah, I'm
building
okay.
Stuff, yeah.
I'm okay. I can hold my own.
Good. Oh, that's all right. Yeah. So it's been difficult to try and keep an eye on what's going on, I guess.
Yes, and also it's been difficult for us with the workload, and we're busy focusing on our own things. So I found the timing of the World Cup frustrating in terms of having the opportunity to look at games when. For any manager or coach out there, when you look at our programme, we're constantly maxed out, so that's been disappointing, not having a real opportunity to look at games, but I've just tended to focus on who we are and what we do, and not worry about outside influences that I can't control, basically.
And although people might go, well, why are you watching? Why would you want to watch the World Cup? I guess it's not for scouting players, but for learning. Finding tactics, set pieces, whatever it may be, just trying to learn off the best.
No, absolutely. The little bits that I have watched, I've tried to watch specific things or specific teams that I recognise things in, or things that I like. To hopefully evidence things that you see, if it's working or what's slightly different that what you may do. And we're not pretending that I don't pretend that I'm a rocket science or a genius, but football's not a complicated game. It tends to be complicated by coaches. We try not to do that here. So from that aspect, the tiny bits that I have seen, that's been really good. But unfortunately, my major disappointment is actually not having the opportunity to watch great teams, and I mean like England and Gareth Southgate and the work that they're doing. Like I've probably caught 20 minutes of one of their games through no fault of my own, so that's been disappointing.
Cheltenham this weekend, what kind of test are you expecting from them?
I think Wade's done a brilliant job this year. He's somebody that I'd like to think that I can recognise the situation he's in. A first-time manager like myself is really difficult. And I think he's been really, really impressive. Also in the quarterfinals of the Cup, they're only 2 points behind us in the league. And I know Wade from doing 23s. He's a great guy. He's somebody I highly respect as a coach and as a person. So looking forward to pitching ourselves against each other. But I think he's done an outstanding job at Cheltenham, and I'm sure he's very pleased with how things have gone from so far.
And do you see similarities in the way you both want to play at all?
It's a good question. I don't want to say yes or no, because if I say no, it sounds like I'm being disrespectful, and if I say yes, you might be thinking something else. So I think the job that he's done, I know he's a fantastic coach, as I said. I think he's done a brilliant job. Me personally, I tend not to judge myself against other people and other teams. We just focus on what we do, and we're happy with where we are and what we're doing.
And we're seeing, yourself, Wade, other people who've come through 23s now into first team management. What do you think that time in the 23s has given you in terms of a grounding ready for the first team environment?
It gives you a great opportunity to make mistakes. It gives you a great opportunity to learn. It gives you a great opportunity to learn your role and what programs look like, what development looks like. I remember when I first went to Ipswich and I was the 23s coach, they wanted to basically rewrite their curriculum, if you like. And Brian Clew, who was the academy director at the time, was one of the most impressive guys I've ever been lucky enough to work with. An outstanding footballing brain. I remember Brian saying, Sparky, would you like to get involved and help us? And they had Lee Manning was 16s coach, Gerard Nash was 18s coach at Villa. And those guys had been coaching for 10, 15 years, and I was only coaching a few months, and I had absolutely no idea what they were talking or what doing. I remember openly saying to them, look, I'd love to be part of what you're doing, but I haven't a clue. I wouldn't know where to start. And those guys have been coaching 10, 15 years, and they're so far ahead of where I was on my coaching journey. Their understanding of development programs, curriculums, weekly planning, succession planning, periodisation. I was just wet behind the ears. If I had 9 players, I was doing a 3v3 plus 3 with no tactical element to it. It's just like, what can I do that's fun? So, and I don't mind admitting that. So the actual learning has been amazing. The best thing I ever done in coaching was actually to leave Ipswich, which was heavily geared around first team, to actually go and work in an academy and understand what coaching really, really looks like. So that was it was the best thing I could have done. And it's taken me 10 years to have an opportunity to become a manager. But if I hadn't have done that, I'm not saying I might have had an opportunity with somebody for whatever reason, but I think my chances of being successful would have been less. And I'm not sat here saying I'm successful, because I'm not at all. But I think that grounding gave me the best opportunity. And I'm sure, I can't speak for Wade, I think we'd similar paths. I'm sure he would say that they're probably the same thing.